It is currently 7:43 a.m. and I'm currently taking out my hair because I just had this impulsive, I don't want to call it impulsive, but I had this urge to like try to flat iron my hair. But I feel like it's kind of pointless for me to flat iron my hair because for some reason my hair is very sensitive to moisture. So any type of moisture in the air, in the house, it's like literally I could like take the flat iron and like just straighten it and then it'd be straight. And then in like 3 seconds, it's like puffy. But I wanted to talk about my experience using Lamictal. I think that's how you say it, Lamotrigine. So I don't know if it's a good idea to show my prescriptions. Wait, let me see if I could. I don't know if I should show my address. I don't know if I should show it. But pretty much, I'm on a dose of 200 milligrams. So this one is 200. Come on, focus. So I take one a day. And I first started on a low dose. It was recommended to my from my psychiatrist at the time because it didn't really have a lot of side effects, and most of the side effects, like I think the most severe one was like a rash that could develop. But I started on a low dose of 25, and I think I took that for like 2 or 3 weeks. I didn't really notice anything. And then like what happened? I think she ended up increasing it maybe like a month later to like 50, and I took that for like 2 weeks, and then maybe another 2 weeks later it was like 75. And so we kept like titrating up until until it got to 75. And I think that's where she kind of like left it and was like kind of observing my symptoms and stuff like that. But she prescribed that to me after giving me my diagnosis, and I have a long list of diagnoses. And one thing my mom used to tell me when I was younger, and it still sticks in the back of my head, we were having a conversation one day. I think it was like 13 at the time, and we were at the laundromat, and I don't remember what we were talking about, that's why she would bring this up, but she was like, mental illness isn't real. She said mental illness just gives people an excuse to act a certain way. So from what I understood at the time is that it's not real, and it's something that somebody can choose to put on and take off depending on how it suits them or benefits them. And I've always had that in the back of my head. So fast forward to like a couple months ago, I finally actually accepted the fact that I am depressed. And I actually accepted that. I kind of was just like, maybe I'm depressed, but I actually accepted this is what I'm experiencing. This is not a normal functional state of being. Yes, everybody experiences depression, but living like that every single day, it's like, this is not a normal state of being. This is not a healthy mindset to be in. And the only reason why I knew I was depressed was because of my medicine. I started taking this medicine last year back in like January. So it's been a little bit over a year of me using it on and off. So where should I start? Maybe I should go over my diagnosis. So my diagnoses were bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, ADD, PTSD, GED, and OCD. And some of those diagnoses, I'm still kind of like, I feel like the OCD, I can see how that is, but I don't think it's the full thing. I think there's pieces of that show up, but I don't think I actually have OCD. I think, I've always looked at these things as bad things, and I've always looked at them as things that, like my mom said, I don't want to use this to excuse my behavior. So I never really wanted to accept it, because it's like, then it's kind of like I'm behaving this way because I have bipolar. I've even heard some people say that, and I think it's gross. Like, I don't like the idea of you excusing certain behaviors because of some mental thing that you got going on. So my doctor, she was like, the most important thing right now is just to stabilize the bipolar, and then we can go ahead and start treating other things. So once that is stabilized, we can look into other things. And so I was like, okay. So yeah, I started that medication. When I was on the 75, I stayed on that dose for maybe about a month and a half. And what it did was, it literally made me so aware of my thoughts and every single feeling and sensation that was happening inside of my brain and my body. It was literally like, if I can visualize it, it literally felt like how they have those surveillance rooms at the mall? Like, that's what my brain felt like. It felt like there was a bunch of screens and surveillance systems, and I was just in the middle of it, just watching each and every single one of them. Like, nothing got through me or to me without me looking at it and analyzing it and thinking about it. Like, at that time, I actually started to understand triggers, like what things trigger certain feelings, thoughts. I'm a very emotional person, so things that trigger my emotions pull me in. And what it feels like is, I'll just be like, perfect example. I was sitting in the car waiting to get work done on my car. I was stressed out, so my emotions, I was in a more vulnerable state because of the stress that I was in. And I thought about the back seat of my car. Oh no, I was thinking about roaches. Roaches. And then, because I thought, I hope there's no roaches in my car. Hold on, let me keep going, because hopefully it'll make sense. But I was thinking about roaches in my car. So from the roaches, then I started thinking about this guy that I met who pretty much got me to come over to his house, but did not explain his living situation. And I mean, he was flirting with me, having a good time. We go back to his house, and there's roaches everywhere. I mean, outside of the door, every single area of the house was covered in roaches. And the worst part is, like, when I first saw them, I was like, oh, okay, like, I don't like it. But the longer I stayed in the house, the longer I looked around and just realized they're everywhere. There was roaches crawling on the ceiling and falling on the floor. Like, that's how bad it was. And he didn't tell me nothing. Not a thing. And so, I was sitting at the table, we eating the food we just got, and there's roaches literally crawling right over my thighs under the table, on the chairs. Like, it just makes me shiver. And I was so pissed off because I didn't drive myself there. So there was no way for me to leave. I didn't have money for an Uber or a taxi. So I was kind of stuck, and I knew that this man wanted to have sex. So being, who I was at the time, I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't make a scene about it, and it is what it was. I mean, I smoked so many cigarettes that day, though. But then from there, I started thinking about a situation with another guy who didn't, explain his living situation. And I came to pick him up, and I had held my pee the whole time. So I'm like, okay, when I get to his house, I'll ask to pee. And so he's kind of like hesitant about it. And I'm like, why is he hesitating to let me pee? And so I come into his house. Same thing, roaches everywhere. And they weren't like the big adult ones. It was like the little teeny tiny baby ones. And the whole house smelled like shit and piss, because I guess there was just so many cats. So literally, from me sitting there in my car, stressed out, I thought about two highly triggering situations that cause a lot of negative feelings. And what happens is, I'll keep going, and then I'll pretty much put myself back into that situation, almost as if I'm literally back in this situation and feeling it in my body, like I'm actually there, and it's strong and it pulls me in. And then I forget where I am. I'll snap out of it, and I'll be like, and then what I'll do from there is try to distract myself, find something else to focus my mind on, but it'll just come right back. And that used to happen a lot more. Like, I mean, situations like that would happen thousands of times. I'm not being dramatic. Like, it felt like it was happening all the time when I was stressed out. Anytime, like, I was so scared of boredom because I was so scared of where my thoughts would go. And I'd end up, pretty much being on the verge of like not wanting to be alive anymore because my brain keeps giving me these thoughts and feelings and memories that I don't want to think about. And it just, like, one time, that kept happening to me, and I was being dramatic, but I just started like banging my head because I'm like, why? Like, I do not want to think about how my mom was getting beat up, and like, no, I don't want to think about these things. There's no reason for me to think about them. And it isn't even just thinking about it, it's reliving it, feeling it in my body. But I've noticed the past couple of months that doesn't happen as often. And then when it does happen, I'm aware that it's happening and I'm able to like realize why it's happening. Like, instead of just allowing it to happen and moving on to something else, I'm kind of like, you're thinking about these things because you're stressed out. Like, you're okay. Your brain is just in a different state. Therefore, you're thinking different things. I have to remind myself that this is not my normal. Like, this, I'm not accepting it into myself. I'm not accepting this as like who I am. This is what I'm experiencing because of the mental state that I'm in, and separating myself from that. I don't know what you call that, but that's what I do. But, back to the medicine, it brought a lot of awareness, like I said, but the awareness gave me this feeling of like always falling short, because like I was explaining in my last video, when you finally know the truth but your actions are not aligning with that truth, and you're moving throughout life not behaving in a way that you believe that you should be behaving in, for me, I feel a lot of shame, because it's like, you only have yourself to blame. It's me. Like, if I know that if I put my hand on a hot stove, I'm going to get burnt, but I keep doing it and then crying about it and complaining about it and making it a big scene, I'm doing that to myself. And when all I simply have to do is don't put my hand on the hot stove. Like, it's like, that is what frustrates me so much. But yeah, the medicine, it brought so much awareness. And from there, I was able to like actually understand my thought patterns, kind of separate myself from these thoughts and feelings that I was experiencing. But there was one point where, my mom's voice crept into my head, and I found myself having to like push it out of my head multiple days, to the point where I was just like, I don't need this medicine. Like, I'm not actually sick. Like, I don't need anything. This is just like, it's not doing anything. Like, I don't feel anything changing, so there's no need of me taking it anymore. So I literally, stopped taking it cold turkey. And the thing was, I was smoking weed at the time, like self-medicating. So during that time, I was smoking a lot of weed and also taking this medicine. And I'd find myself having these just very, very, very intense anxieties, emotions, worries. So I restarted it, I would say, last year, because I started taking it in January of last year. So like back in like December, wait a minute. I don't know. I feel like it was like November last year. I started taking it again, and then to like 150. And was this? Yeah, it was like 150. And then I remember, moving forward, I know my dates are off. I'm not really good at recalling dates, but like times, but at some point, this what happened earlier this year. It was earlier this year. I was on 150. I made coffee and there's coffee grounds in it. I got back up to 150. And at this time, my insurance changed because I no longer was eligible for Medicaid because they were saying I was making too much money. I was making about $2,200 a month as a single person, no dependents. So they were saying that's too much to qualify for Medicaid. So I ended up having to get insurance, private insurance plan where I only paid like, it was only like $2 a month. Like I was paying for it, but my benefits were really bad. Like I had to start paying for my medications every time I got birth control, every time I saw the doctor. Granted, I didn't do research on the insurance plans. Those things kind of scared me because I really don't understand. So I just did it because I heard that you can get in trouble if you don't get health insurance. So, at that point, my psychiatrist, she knew that my insurance was canceling, so she gave me a 3 month supply of my medication so that I'd have it, while I get things figured out, which I really appreciate her for that. Um, but I've taken a lot of medications, not just that one. I've taken clonidine, I've taken fluvoxamine, I've taken Prozac, and that's it. And it's so crazy. I'm trying to stay focused. It is so crazy. I've been in therapy since I was 5 years old. I've been in counseling since I was 5 years old. I had CPS workers in my house since I was like 7 years old. So I've always been in a therapeutic system, in a counseling system, stuff like that. And so the first time I ever went to a therapist, what had happened was I was in high school. I was in 10, 11, excuse me. Yeah, I was in ninth grade. I'm nowhere near to be finished. I'm running my chops. I was in ninth grade, and I don't know what was wrong with me. I had a lot of self-esteem issues. And so one of my problems was I didn't feel comfortable eating in front of people because I just assumed that when people looked at me, they'd be like, oh, this fat bitch doesn't need to be eating. And I saw me eating as an opportunity for people to make fun of me. And it's so crazy because like I noticed how like if I sat in the lunchroom, if like I would look at other people and look at what they were looking at, or look at what I think they were looking at, and I'd watch where people's eyes would go. And so I thought about it in my sense, like, okay, other people are looking at me right now too. And I was just really uncomfortable with that. So most days I would go to school, I wouldn't get my free and reduced breakfast, and I wouldn't get my free and reduced lunch, and I would be starving, so starving, to the point where it's now like 1:30. I hadn't eaten since dinner yesterday, and I'm feeling like I'm going to pass out. I'm falling asleep in my classes. I'm feeling sick. My blood sugar is low, and I thought that was good. Like, I thought it meant I was losing weight and getting healthy, but I'd pretty much starve myself all day long. And then when I finally got home, I would just go crazy and I would eat. Like I would make like 3 peanut butter jelly sandwiches, a pack of ramen noodles, and just stuff my face. And, finally, eat. And so when I got more comfortable, I guess, that's when I would start, eating breakfast. So the days where I was just like really hungry and I was feeling a little audacious or courageous, I would go and I would get breakfast and I would sneak it. Not really sneaking it like stealing, like I would get in a lunch line and get my breakfast, but I like take it and put it in my pocket and I'd throw away like the juice and the fruit because that would be harder to like, consume, I guess. But like I would take the main breakfast and I'd go in the bathroom and I'd eat it. And when I was done, I'd leave, And I did the same thing at lunch. Like when the days where I was like, I literally need to eat, I would do the same thing. I would take my lunch, put it in my backpack, find a bathroom and sit and eat. And I would hate it because sometimes there'd be like the hall monitors and they'd be like, are you supposed to be in the bathroom? And I'm like in there eating my chicken wrap, dropping lettuce and cheese on the floor. It was so embarrassing. But I wasn't embarrassed. Like, I just felt like this is what I gotta do. Like, I gotta eat. Like, I just did not want to be seen. And so I told my mom about it jokingly because, like, she didn't know that I was doing that. And I didn't think it was a big deal. So when I brought it up to her, I was joking about it. And she was joking about it too. And so, I think a couple weeks later, I was talking to the school and I was like, can I get a therapist? Like, I just feel like, I could benefit from talking to somebody because I don't talk to anybody. And so my guidance counselor was like, yeah. So she made a meeting with my mom. My mom came in and we all had a meeting together. And then my mom yeah, because she be eating her lunch in the bathroom. And I'm like, why are you telling her? And then the guidance counselor's looking at me like, she's like, Rayma, you don't have to eat in the bathroom. You could eat in the library. And I'm like, no, bitch, you don't understand. The whole point of me eating in the bathroom is I don't want to be seen. So if I'm in the library, I'm going to be seen. And like the thing is, what I brought up in my last video, people only behave in a way where it reflects what they believe. So when I believed I was being watched, I couldn't be comfortable enough to eat. So even if I was in the furthest corner in the library that is open and anybody can walk in at any time, I'm not going to feel comfortable enough to eat. And it just was even more stressful versus being in a closed stall where nobody can see me. I can eat. So, she didn't understand that. I didn't really know how to express that. But I did continue to eat in the bathrooms. And so I finally started going to therapy. I got a therapist. They did the intake assessment. And I met with 2 different evaluators on 2 different occasions. And then they finally made a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder and depression, like major depression. And the psychologist or psychiatrist at the time, he had me and my mom in the room and was explaining to her, like, she's really depressed. Like, it's really recommended that she starts on a medication. And my mom, being who she is, afraid of the government, the healthcare system, she's like, no, I don't want her taking any medication. Like, I don't want her, y'all putting drugs in her. Meanwhile, my mom is a smoker and my mom is a drinker. And my mom was smoking weed. So it's very, hypocritical to say that, but you're doing all these substances and drugs. But she's like, no, how can you say she's depressed? She's not depressed because when I take her to the mall, she's happy and smiling. So I don't think she's depressed. And then like she started arguing with the psychiatrist and I was just like, yep. So I ended up not taking any medication and just meeting with PRP and my therapist. And then at some point within I want to say a year, maybe 2 years after doing that, I decided to discharge myself because my mom was becoming very religious and Christian at this point. And it kind of felt like I could get my mom's approval and get her praise if I stopped doing therapy, which was something that she was against. It was a way for me to get approval from my mom. And so I ended up discharging myself. And tell me why, during the discharge process, my mom was trying to preach the gospel to these people because she's become a Christian and stuff like that. And so, that's a little bit of that. So then I ended up, I think I was 19 or 20 at this time. I reached out to a company on my own about getting therapy, and my Medicaid covered it, so I didn't have to pay anything for our sessions, and I also didn't have to pay anything for my psychiatric sessions. So I met with a therapist, I think it was once every 2 weeks. And my therapy day, therapy was cool because it did give me that chance to speak with somebody, but therapy isn't really effective if you're talking the whole time. I feel like therapy has to be a balance of listening, talking with intention, not just running your mouth and ranting, because then when I get finished all that, there's only 5 minutes left and she's like, well, we gotta go. And so she would try to send me resources and stuff, but it was I didn't understand that therapy wasn't just about ranting about everything that has been happening, but this is a time to actually get help. I could have, I didn't really benefit from it because I wasn't using it the right way. But I did like her. She, did observations on me. So when it was time to meet with the psychiatrist, she was able to, talk with my psychiatrist about some of the things she's seen. So that's when I started Lamotrigine. So like I said, I started that like last year. I got those diagnoses, and yeah. So fast forward to, I'm all over the place, but it's like, I feel like, oh my goodness, I feel like if I try to write it down, I don't know, I'm all over the place. Maybe, I don't know. But I don't know when so the highest dose I ever was on with my psychiatrist was like 175. And during that time, like after, she gave me my 3-month supply, let's say this is now like June. June was when I felt like I started to peak. Like for whatever reason, out of nowhere, I started to encourage myself. Something I've never done before is talk positively to myself. Like at this time, I started getting into the habit of pushing myself to do things that were uncomfortable and challenging. So like I wanted to build a habit. So one of those things was going to the basketball court and playing basketball. I had nobody to play basketball with. I was alone. Sometimes there'd be other people there playing basketball for real. I didn't know how to shoot. I didn't really know how to dribble, but I went every single day for like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But during that time, spending that time by myself, doing something that was really uncomfortable doing, during that time was when I started to encourage myself, because like it'd be really hot outside and I'd want to leave. But I'm like, Rayma, it's going to be hot outside. Like there are people outside working right now, sweating their asses off. Just because it's uncomfortable, that doesn't mean you have to go home. If you need to go to the car to get some air conditioning and take a break and come back, that's okay. But your mindset shouldn't be, it's hot, so I'm going to leave. And so I started to say, just 5 more minutes. You can go 5 more minutes. You can't leave until you make this shot, or get 5 more baskets and you can leave. And from there, I was able to start encouraging myself and pushing myself. And I found myself wanting to cry when I was doing that. Like it literally felt like, like how, I don't know how to explain it. It literally was like I wanted to cry because there was a part of me that just wanted that relief. But there was a part of me that wasn't going to let myself quit. And so I started talking really positive to myself. I started to realize that everything that I want in this life, in my life, is not impossible. Like everything that I want, I can get it. There's nothing that I want in my lifetime that I can't get. Everything that I want is possible, and it will take time, but it will also take effort to get there, but it's not impossible. And I started just thinking of all the opportunities that lay ahead of me. And like, it was like one of the biggest things was like losing weight, but it was like, I can lose weight. Like that is not impossible. Like I could go to college. That is not impossible. There's a process that you have to go through to get there. But it's not impossible. Like I can do it. And it was like for the first time in my life, I wanted to live. Like I actually wanted to live and enjoy life, because I saw everything that I could like get. I don't know how to explain it. It was like I wanted to be able to stick around to finally get those things that I always dreamed of having. Because at some point they weren't going to be dreams anymore. They were going to be reality. And I was excited. I was optimistic. For a while it went like that, where I just felt really good. Like I just felt very capable. I felt aware. I felt mentally strong. And all of that was because of this medication. For the longest time, it felt like a placebo effect. It was like, literally, I'm just taking this pill and they're telling me it's doing all these things, but I don't actually know what it's doing. And it could be a placebo. Like, it could be like a salt tablet or something, not doing anything mentally, but because they're telling me that I'm going to get better if I take it, I just somehow start getting better because, of this thing. But it's like the only way that I know that it's not a placebo is because I look at the times where I wasn't taking it, and then I look at the times where I was taking it. And it takes a long time for it to stabilize in your blood, especially if you're increasing it. So it's going to take a few months for it to actually stabilize. But once it finally did, it was like, wow, this is what life feels like. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say my life was perfect. I don't want to say I wasn't a slob still. I don't want to say like I was, all I can say is that I felt good. I felt this sense of like strength and clarity and optimism. And it's so crazy that it was just a medicine. Like, it was literally just like some tablet of some mystery substance that somehow helped me to feel this way. And so then we fast forward to August. I had no more medicine, and I was on 200. There's coffee grounds in my mouth. Ugh. And so I ended up having to stop cold turkey because I wasn't able to get the medicine, find a provider to get the medicine. So, I had to stop cold turkey. And I was afraid of that. And it was like everything that I thought would happen did happen. And I just felt very shitty. I felt very lethargic. I felt very weak mentally. And maybe that was because I already kind of put it into my head that that's how I would feel. But I'm back on it again. And I've only been back on my dose for about 2 weeks now. No, it's been about 2 weeks because I ran out for like 5 days, so I didn't have it for like 5 days. But I'm waiting, to see what it's going to be like when it stabilizes again. But I feel like I'm honestly at a point where it's not really necessary for me to take it anymore, but I don't want to be too confident in saying that because I finally understand now that there are ways to accomplish what I'm doing despite how I feel. And one of those things I talk about a lot is like routines. Like, I'm just starting out with these systems of routines, but they've done tremendously well. For example, like and one of the things like with the mental health diagnosis is like the mental health diagnosis in the right hands and with the right understanding help you to understand what kinds of patterns of thinking does this person have. Somebody who has borderline personality disorder, their emotions are very intense. They get triggered really fast. The emotion comes before the logic. So because of that pattern of thinking, certain behaviors manifest because of that. And, they say like recklessness and dangerous activities and stuff like that. But they also say, people who have that personality disorder engage in like self-harm and stuff like that. I've never done that, but that's not to say I've never thought about it. Because I've definitely thought about it. But what was I going to say? It just helps to explain the patterns of thinking that this person is struggling with that are not functional, not conducive to growth and a healthy mindset. Like black and white thinking. Like, I just ran into a situation earlier where I don't know how much time I have left before this thing stops, but I just ran into a situation earlier where my grandmother is pretty much bedbound and she can't do anything for herself. She can't use the bathroom by herself. She can't feed herself. She can eat, but like she can't feed herself and cook her own meals. If it was not for my grandfather, she would have to be put into a nursing home because nobody can provide her the level of care that she needs like he does. And so we, me, because I live with them, we've been taking turns taking care of her. So that means that some days I have to wake up at 5 in the morning, 5:40 in the morning, and she's calling me and blowing up my phone because my grandfather has went to work because he works 5 a.m. and she's blowing up my phone because she needs help using the bathroom. And it's like I struggle with that because I know that she needs me, but it also makes me feel like I'm being used because there's a part of me that is like, I don't know. It's like, why are you calling me? Like, this pretty much like, oh, now you want something from me. I don't know why I feel that way, but I don't know how to explain it. I don't know where that comes from, but I push past that and I try not to let my negative feelings rub off on her because the reality is she wouldn't call me if she didn't need me, Like, well, she even called me when she didn't need me. But the thing is, like, she needs my help. That's why she's calling me. So it's not just to boss me around and control me. She actually has a need and she can't do it for herself. If she could do it for herself, she wouldn't be calling me. And I'm pretty sure she would love to be able to walk to the bathroom, take a shit, take a piss, wipe her own ass, and then get back into bed. I'm pretty sure she would love to be able to do that for herself, but she can't. She literally has to be lifted off of the bed and sat on to her portable toilet, then picked up from the portable toilet, sat back in the bed. But you can't just sit her back in the bed because she needs to be sitting upright. So it's this whole process of pretty much moving and manipulating her body. And it takes a mental strain on me because I'm already holding back these negative emotions. And then the smells aren't necessarily pleasant. And then it almost feels like my time is being played with because, like, for example, I earlier this week had appointments that I needed to get to, and I had my whole morning routine scheduled out, and all of a sudden she wanted to be calling me 15 minutes before I leave out the door. And not only that, she wants to take her time, and it makes me so pissed off because it makes me feel like she's doing it on purpose. Like, that I'm not just here chilling. That I have a job. That if you need help, you need to make sure that you get it at certain times, because if you aren't asking questions like, hey, when are you leaving out, or, communicating in that way, it literally just feels like you want to play with my time and get this type of service from me. And I'm the one that ends up with the consequences. And so there was a couple days earlier this week where, like, I am not physically strong enough. Like, she is 170 pounds. As big as I am, I'm very weak. Like, I have no muscle. I'm not strong at all. So when I lift her, she can't use her legs. Her legs are pretty much useless. So I'm literally carrying her. She can't use her legs. She can't push off of them because she has arthritis real bad in her knees and they'll just give out on her. So that's what happened, because we do like a 180, like pick her from the toilet and then turn her that way. And so when we were turning this way, her legs just gave out and I had to pretty much hold her because I didn't want her to hit the floor, because I don't want her to hit the floor because, one, it's going to be harder to get her up if she's on the floor because she can't use her legs. And I want to treat her as gently as possible. I don't want her hitting the floor and falling around and having to slam her around. I don't want that. So, it got to a point where she literally was about to fall and I had to muster up every ounce of strength to pull her up on that bed. And it was so scary because it's like, it's scary because she also has heart failure. So, she has to exert herself more, in these stressful situations. And it's just scary. Like, I do not like doing it, but I know that it is necessary. And, my grandfather, he's gone at work, trying to make money. So he does appreciate that I'm there to help out. But, I told him like last night, because I was just going like ignore everything and just be like, I'm ignore it. But I decided to communicate. And I told him last night, it is the weekend. I am not waking up before 7:30 and helping out. So that if that means, because his job already knows, like he's already communicated to his job the situation that he's in, so he might have to leave work at some points, but he'll come back. He works literally like 5 minutes away, so he's able to come and help and just go right back to work. So I told him, I was like, I'm not getting up before 7:30 because she be calling me at like 5:40 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, ringing up my phone, and I'm just like, no, I'm not. It's the weekend. Like, I want to sleep in. I'm not trying to deal with that. Like, I'm not saying I'm not going to help out, but I clearly set a boundary. And I said I will not be getting up before 7:30. So that means that you're probably going to have to be here, around like 8. So he says, okay, thank you for letting me know. And I was like, cool. So I went to sleep. And then what happened was I ended up waking up a lot earlier than 7:30. I actually woke up this morning at like 5:40. And I was kind of pissed because like I wanted to sleep, but I got drunk last night and I ended up falling asleep at like 8. So that's why I woke up so early. But she started calling my phone at 7:15. And I immediately got pissed off because I'm like, yeah, I'm up. It wouldn't really hurt me to come and help you. But at the same time, I feel like it's disrespectful for you to be calling me. And I already communicated that. Like, why not call your husband? Why call me? So my feelings were immediate. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like they're immediate. So once they're immediate, I start making decisions from that place. And so I was like, nah, I'm gonna just leave her. I'm gonna leave her there and I'm gonna ignore it. But that didn't feel good in my soul because I saw her in my head and I was like, nah, I can't just leave her there sitting like that. And I know that she gotta use the bathroom. That just feels cruel to me. So I wrestled with myself for a little bit. And, that's the black and white thinking. It's like either I do it and I disrespect my own boundary, or I don't do it and leave her sitting there. I didn't see that there was a gray area until I sat for a second and thought about it. And I was okay, well, what I'll do is I will go help her, but I will reiterate that boundary to make sure that it happens the next time. And so, that's what I did. And so, oh my gosh, just crust on my mouth. But anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, it's like I see some of my diagnosis and I understand that a lot of the way I think, there's a lot of distortions from my childhood and things that I've believed my whole life. And it's like, I can see it. Like, I can clearly see it. I am a person who likes sunlight, who likes it to be bright and light, and it is very gloomy and cloudy out today. So my mental health doesn't really feel as strong. I literally feel a little mentally, oh, that lighting is not good. Because I don't like looking like that. I like when my skin looks golden. Is that better? No. Like that. I like when it's really light outside. So I feel a little mentally weak right now. Like, little flustered, kind of disoriented, disorganized. And here is another pattern of thinking. So about 2 months ago, I would drink all weekend. I would start drinking like Thursday night and I drink all the way up into Sunday night. And I just spent so much money. Like, I would spend maybe like about $40 the whole weekend, just drinking. And I would tell myself, okay, we're going to stop drinking on Sunday. here she go calling me. What time is it? It's 8:30, so yeah. So she's calling me right now, and she just asked for my help. And I'm gonna sit here and record this video. It's like, no. She just asked for my help, and I immediately feel like, because she's interrupting me, you know? Like, literally, like, think about it. Realistically, like, is that fair? Really? Like, I don't feel like I'm a bad person for feeling inconvenienced, because that is the reality. I am in here doing what I do, you know, and then being pulled away to go help somebody who does need help. But realistically, humanly, I'm not getting paid for this. It's literally, I'm just doing it to help. And it's not like I'm getting rewarded for it or anything. The only thing that I get out of it is the peace of mind of knowing that I just helped her. Sometimes I'll be thinking to myself, like, is she faking it? Like, can she really get herself on this toilet, or is this all just a way to get, like, attention? But I don't think it is. But you see, it's like, I don't know why it's so hard for me to just say to myself, okay, help her, and then go back to doing what you're doing. It literally is like this emotional game every single time. And I even have a little resentment starting to grow towards her. I even walk on eggshells when I'm out there, because I'm like, if I wake her up, she's going to call for me. And it's just like, I feel like that is so rude, but at the same time, it's human. Like, I don't feel like I'm a bad person for feeling this way. But at the same time, I kind of do, because this person has contributed a lot to my life and has helped me out in tremendous ways. So I should be grateful. I should be wanting to spoil this person for everything that they've given to me. And it's crazy that that's not my immediate reaction. My immediate reaction is irritation. And I don't know how to not feel that way. So I need to go help her, but I'll record when I get back. Yeah. I don't like this. Ooh! And I'm not editing this out either. How can I? Not the double chin. Okay, whatever. I'm not really sure how to change that part of myself, because I think that one part of me feels like it's valid, but the other part of me knows that that isn't really a healthy mentality to have. And even if I would, and even for the most part, I mean, realistically, if I was in the same situation and I needed support from somebody like that, you know, it's like, because it's not like I'm not doing it. It's not like I'm not going to help her. It's just more so the fact that I do have to help her. So if I didn't know that the person who was helping me, if I didn't get negative feelings from them and they helped me and they weren't being rude to me and like aggressive with me, then I don't think that I'd have a problem with it, because I do. Like, I don't get aggressive with her. I treat her very gently. I don't want to cause her any pain. So I'm being respectful. But it is irritating. Like, I guess this, I also think it has something to do with like autonomy and like not like feeling like somebody else has some control over me. And I don't know. I don't know what it is, but you know, like I said, I was, drinking last night, and usually what happens is after I drink, I get this strong desire to continue drinking into the next day and the morning. So like what I would have done in the past was I would have went to the liquor store, went to any liquor store that was open, and would have got more liquor so that I could have started drinking, throughout the day. And, I even went as far as like putting on clothes to prepare myself to go do that. And I was like, there's no need for me to drink. It's not really like I get anything out of drinking, because it's like the way that I act when I'm drinking isn't anything that, like, the way that I act, it's not like the way that one of the reasons why I started drinking was because it gave me an excuse to act in ways that I would not act in if I was sober. And so, knowing that I have responsibilities in my life at this point where I can't do a lot of the reckless things that I was doing, and knowing that there's a possibility that I will do those things when I'm drunk is like, that kind of like deters me, because it's like I don't want to ruin any relationships that I have. I've gotten very close to doing that, and so it's like I see it more so as like, what are you trying to get by being drunk that you can't create in your space right now? And so what's crazy is like, either like, I pretty much would have just laid in bed all day, kind of just like felt very dysregulated all day. But I immediately thought, oh, my routine. Like, it's the weekend, so I woke up. I can wake up when I want. But that doesn't mean that I still can't follow my routine. My routine gives me that structure. So I immediately went into starting my routine. I didn't go out for a walk, but I made some coffee. I put on a vlog, a comfortable vlog. I'm going to do my hair, wash my hair, and do my laundry. Like, I actually thought about, like, because I kind of use alcohol to disguise my want for relaxation and ritual. And so like, in order for me to feel like I'm truly relaxed, I need to go get a drink so I can relax myself, But in reality, it's like I can do that without the alcohol. So there's really no need for me to go and drink, honestly. It's just wasting money at this point. So I'm not going to do it. And I'm so glad that my immediate thought was to jump into a routine, and it wasn't to go and do something self-destructive or something to distract myself. Like, I'm glad that that was an immediate thought, and there was no resistance to it, because in those moments, I want something to save me. It's literally like, please, something save me before I ruin it, before I fuck everything up. Like, please save me from myself. And that's exactly what I did by immediately thinking about my routines. It like literally felt like saving me, like, whew, I don't have to go down that path anymore. So yeah, that's why routines are very good for people like myself. I am human, but I would like to operate in a way of kindness and respect, but I don't always feel those ways. So my question to myself is like, okay, am I wrong? Like, even if I'm helping somebody, if I'm not helping them with good intentions, is that still helping them? Even if they don't know that I had bad intentions, is that really still helping? Like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to finish my hair.